Guys, today we're going to do probably one of the hardest things for any card gamer to do, and that is read, right? We are going to read the schedule and the regulations and some news for BRO2021, so you are ready. You are ready for this tournament. It's happening in 3 weeks, right? 3 weeks. I'm sure a lot of you who are participating have already started testing your decks, right? You're getting ready to find what the best thing is. But did you know you could have the best deck out there, right, and still lose by default because you didn't sign up, you didn't check the rules, you didn't have a good camera, etc., right? So we're gonna use today's session to kind of go through everything, so you're kind of more prepared for it, right? You're more prepared. Again, like I said, there's like around 3 weeks to the tournament. 3 weeks is a good time to prepare, right? Get your cards, but remember, also, you have to get your webcams to make sure your internet is fine. These things all take time. Even shipping takes time. Did you know that there is a shipping problem around the world? Some places are not getting product. You might not even have food tomorrow, right? So you better get that food on your table soon, or in the pantry, so you can eat later, right? So if you order a webcam, if you're ordering it 1 week before the tournament from Amazon, you might be screwed, bro. Right? You might be screwed. You could have ordered cards and it's missing like a Rutis or something like that, and you can't play. So get your stuff ready first. But let's kind of look at the admin side. Everyone forgets the admin side. Let's start off with the schedule. When are these things happening? Right, December 4th and 5th. That's when premium happens, right? 11th and 12th, the week after, that's when V premium happens. Fast forward into January. Then on the 8th and the 9th, we've got standard. So a lot of time for you to prepare for standard. And then finally, if you're a Y Schwartz player, we have that going last on the 15th and the 16th, right? So you need to register for all of these. There's 3 different regions, and you need to register for these tournaments. The links will be coming soon, right? Here are the times that you need to be careful about. Registration for premium will begin on the 22nd of November. Sometime on that day, depending on your time zone, right? So if I'm Australian, it's happening pretty late for me. It's at night, right? But if you're elsewhere, it's happening a bit early, and sometimes it is happening very, very early, right? Smack bang midnight kind of thing. So keep that in mind. Then premium does close like later, like 2 days before the tournament. But then for V, it also happens on Monday. So all these things are happening on Mondays. Mondays is your key time. If you're thinking, when should I start registering? Is it a Monday? Better be prepared, right? Better be prepared. That's a pro tip, right? Mondays are fun days. Not really. Again, basically 2 weeks before the tournament on a Monday, that is when you're focused, right? I know last time a lot of people were very hyped. They were just waiting. They can't wait to click, right? They can't wait to click. Apparently, they doubled the amount of entrants that can enter each tournament. If I recall correctly, basically only Standard and V were full last time, right? V was surprisingly very full. But now that they double the entrance, I think you don't have to be that rushed, right? But don't quote me on this, right? I know a lot of people who are keen are still gonna go first day, first hour, bam, smack bang, register. But if you want to sleep, right? If your registration time is 3 a.m. in the morning, you could probably wake up at 6 and still log in and get a spot because they doubled the amount of entrants, right? Okay, bear in mind as well, another key thing is that they're spacing out the tournaments quite a lot more compared to before. Right, before we had 2 different games on one weekend, but now they have the Swiss. They have 1 game one weekend, and they have the Swiss on the Saturday, and then they have on day 1, right? And then they have the top 8 on the second day. So the second day is going to be quite relaxing for you. Sunday you can rest. You can just watch the top 8 go on. But just bear in mind that if you do make it to top 8, you need to be prepared to play the next day as well. This also means you probably have more time to go into the other regions, because yes, you can still invade in BRO. Invading is fun, right? It's very fun to invade other regions, especially if you win them, right? Imagine an American winning a European tournament, or a European winning the Asian Oceanic region, right? Or yeah, something like that, right? It's really fun, and it lets you play with a lot of other good players around the world that you normally wouldn't play. So just if you have the time for it, I would say just do it, right? Just do it. Think of it as a big weekend where you can have a lot of fun, right? A lot of fun. But yes, just they've got a check-in that is 1 hour before the start of the tournament, so be prepared to check in, or you just won't be able to play, right? Again, you have the best deck, you don't check in, you're not playing. So they're just check-in times. 1 hour before every tournament, that's basically it, right? Basically it. I kind of won't go into that because it's just a bunch of times. But let's start looking at rules, right? The rules. I like reading rules. I'm not sure about you. I know a lot of people just don't like rules because they're very boring. let's kind of find out the most important parts and the big differences. So now there is a thing called webcam regulations, right? Random camera checks. So the organizer may randomly choose players to conduct a camera check. The chosen player will have to move the camera to show his or her surroundings. This is to ensure that there are no other parties or cards in the area to prevent cheating. So ideally, right, you'll want to set up your camera setup earlier. You don't want to make a... I know some winners of some of these tournaments had really scuffed setups, right? They had cameras that were hanging off things. They sticky taped their camera kind of to things, and they were on the verge of collapsing. Now, if you're playing in a tournament and you're in top 8 or something like that, and your camera just drops down, that's bad times, man. That's pretty bad times. If you have to move your camera and then it drops down because it's so scuffed, that's also bad time. So take your time to set up a good camera setup that, you know, the glare doesn't ruin the look, that gets everything, etc. That you can move and put back into a correct position without ruining your entire setup, right? And just make sure to kick out everyone else in the room for that weekend. Otherwise, your mom is sitting at the back watching K-drama, and the judge is going, "Who's that? Who's that?" It's like, it's just my mom. It's my mom. I don't know how that'll go down. So, yeah, just try and find a good place. You have a lot of time. Maybe talk to your parents, right? Go out for that week. Go out for the enjoy your Saturday, right? Have a big thing happening, right? And if they say, "Oh, I want to do it," then maybe you find somewhere else, or, you know, maybe go to a friend's house even. Go to a friend's house, right? Try and think of... You have a lot of time to think about what you can do. Use that time right now to figure out. Be a negotiator, right? Other rules are all hands are always on screen. If you wish to move your hands off screen, please put the cards in your hand on the field. So this is the same as before. This is basically what they need to see. Just be careful as well that when you're holding your hand on screen, your opponent is not seeing your hand cards, because that happens quite a bit if you don't set up your camera properly, right? So just bear in mind, be careful of that. Just put at a slight angle so you're not just showing, "Hey guys, I'm great stuff, guess what?" Alright, so there are penalties, right, throughout the tournament. Cards leaving the camera once is a warning, twice is a game loss. Disconnected from the table once is a warning, and twice is a game loss. So just bear in mind, right, get a good internet connection. Easier said than done, though. If you know that your your internet disconnects at certain points, maybe you want to fix that modem or whatever, right? Or otherwise, you know, ring up your ISP right now and saying, "Guys, we need something fixed." And at least you have 3 weeks to deal with it. If it doesn't work, then you have find other ways to deal with it. Maybe, again, like friend's house is probably the best idea, who has a stable connection. Make friends with people with good internet connections. Isn't that crazy? Also, when you move houses, make sure the internet connection is good. But otherwise, okay, if your phone has a decent internet connection, you can use that too. But just think of backups. Like for me, I have my phone. That's kind of my backup internet connection. It has 5G, right? Yeah, cue the conspiracy theory. But that is my backup. If my internet connection goes down, at least I can swap to that. Yeah, that's how I kind of think about it. Again, if you have issues though, right? Like here, should you face any video feed issues and want to reconnect, call a judge first before attempting to reconnect. So don't just disconnect. Let a judge know. Again, a lot of things you can just let a judge know so they can kind of sort things out. Also, if you do disconnect, just don't touch anything on your field. Put your hand down, right? Put your hand cards down onto the field. Don't touch your field. And ideally, right, when you reconnect, you can say, you know, there's no dodgy thing that's been happening. Even better is you can record your games, right? You can record your games, so it just kind of sees everything. And that recording your games will basically help you out a lot. Like record your games, record your opponent's games, things like that, right? And then, yeah, if the player connects and disconnects, they have 5 minutes to reconnect before they're awarded a game loss. So you actually have a decent amount of time before you have to reconnect. But just, you know, it's better not to have any of the issues, right? How to call a judge. I think this one is not that difficult. Like, just inform your opponent you're going to call a judge. Leave your cards on the table, right? And then call a judge by peeing, you know, judge table number. And then proceed. Only proceed after a judge has entered the voice channel. So that's just something to be careful of. Shuffling, also, it's the same as before. You can't shuffle through the webcam, right? So you have to do the pile method. So you sort it into 1, 2, 3. Some people are cool enough to put like the numbers 1, 2, 3 on the table. So you can just kind of put the piles there, and then your opponent just says, yeah, how do you want to do it? Recording. So I recommend this as well. Players are strongly recommended to record their own matches as video proof for ruling disputes. However, you are not allowed to stream your matches. Please note that if you participate, there may be a chance that your match is recorded by your opponent for tournament purposes and may be uploaded. Your match may also be streamed on our official channels. Basically, just, I personally, if you can do it, right, if your computer is not terrible, just record your matches. Just record your matches. A lot of times, again, if there's a dispute that happened, the person who has the recording is definitely gonna, it's definitely gonna help you out if it's supposed to be in your favor. Right? If no one recorded the match, it's basically just down to he said, she said kind of thing, and then the judge will have to, you know, there's basically no, I wouldn't say advantage, but it doesn't help your case in any way, right? Penalties. If you're unsure on the number of warnings you've received, you may always check with the judge. Yeah, it's pretty simple. Preparation time. This is pretty important, actually. This is pretty important. Players have 5 minutes to get to your respective tables before the start of the round. After the start of the round, if the opponent is still not at the table, you get a walkover. And a walkover refers to awarding the victory to the participant whose opponent did not show up within 5 minutes after the start of the round. So, just a heads up, normally at the physical TCG tournaments, right? If you don't show up, and the round starts, you have a certain amount of time for you to get to the table before your opponent gets a game win, right? But here, right, you have 5 minutes before the round starts to get to your table, and then if you're not there, it looks like your opponent just gets a free win, right? So again, be prepared. Don't just go to sleep. Don't go to another Discord and forget that you're in a tournament kind of thing. Just be prepared that when the pairings go up, you go to the table and then just get prepared. All right, get prepared. Show that you're there. If you need to do something, probably let a judge know. Let's say if there's 5 minutes, they announce the round, you have 5 minutes to get to your table. Let's say your internet is acting up. Let a judge know that you need to reconnect to something. So, like after 5 minutes, the judge comes to the table and goes, "Where's the guy? Where's the guy?" And the other person's like, "I don't know," and they just get the win, right? So let a judge know if anything happens. If you need to go to the toilet, right, you're really busting. You know, these tournaments can go for a long time, and if you had too much, I don't know, yogurt or dairy products, you might be going, "Dude, I need to go." Let a judge know or something like that. So it's kind of weird, right? It's like when you're at school, you're like, "Teacher, may I go to the toilet?" Kind of at least let them know if nothing can be done, that's it. But look, communication is key, right? Communication is key. Timekeeping. Organizers, judges will announce time remaining before the end of the round. Each player is responsible for their own timekeeping should they miss out on notifications and pings from judges. So, I mean, the kind of the easiest thing here is that if you're playing like remote fight, you're usually in front of a computer / a monitor, and that camera will be like on your shining on your kind of thing. But usually you have, like, if you're on Windows, even Mac, right? You have a clock, and you can kind of understand how long the round goes, right? You can see it started here. We have this much time to play, so I think timekeeping is actually easier on the computer on remote fight compared to in real life. In real life, normally I don't know. Do people still wear watches? Right? Do people still wear watches? I never wear a watch anymore. But I only have my phone. My phone is my watch. But you know, in a real tournament, you can't look at your phone, right? So you're reliant on a judge yelling at you, or like maybe a clock at the venue. And if there's no clock at the venue, then you're screwed. So in remote fight, you technically should have a better grasp on how much time is remaining in the round, at least, right? And here's another big thing: only licensed card supplies, bracket sleeves, playmats can be used, right? So supplies that infringe on any copyrights are not allowed. Custom-made supplies that do not infringe on any copyright are allowed. However, certain supplies may be declined by the organizer if it doesn't meet the standards stated in the floor rules. Officially, licensed products may also be rejected if they are deemed inappropriate, i.e. partial nudity and symbols, etc. You may check if your card supplies are licensed by checking the copyright text. Licensed products will contain the copyright symbol and company name. Do a Google search on the copyright information to check if the name is from a media game company where the art is originally from. So yeah, you can see here, right? You can see here, here's a nice looking sleeve. Copyright text included Kadokawa, which is the producer for the anime Detective is Already Dead, where the character art is originally from. So this is good. This should be good, right? No weird. It looks nice, right? No weird nudity. It's licensed, so good time. So there's also more restrictions as well. All Bushiroad products are good. Generic licensed products, e.g. Dragon Shields, Ultra Pro, Ultimate Guard are good. Other TCGs are no. So if you've got a nice Pokemon mat, sorry buddy, no chance. If you have a Y Schwartz mat, oh, that's good, right? Because it's a Bushiroad product, remember. If you have like a Magic the Gathering mat, yeah, that's not allowed, right? That's not allowed. Okay. And then products that include fan art, so comic kit sleeves, also not allowed. There is actually warnings, right? There is actually warnings. So first offense is a warning, and you can ask the player to change to other sleeves. And the second offense is a game loss. Should they not have other sleeves changed into, they are allowed to continue playing until the top 8 or 16, where they will be dropped from the tournament, and the 9th place or 17th place will be moved up in ranking. So bear in mind, guys, bear in mind, if you don't have other sleeves, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. I think before they mentioned this, this was actually a rule in the previous BSFO tournament, but a lot of people flaunted the rules. They just went, I'm going to play whatever I want. And there weren't really any punishments for that, right? There weren't any punishments. Now there is. Now there is. Now, look, if you get in trouble for this, and like, you know, you go to time in that round, obviously you can tell a judge, and the judge will probably let you go. But if you don't, again, if you don't have sleeves, if you can't change sleeves, then yeah, man, that's bad luck, right? So just bear in mind as well that, you know, things like dice. Dice should be allowed as long as they don't have like a weed, I don't know, weed nudity or just on the dice, or like, you know, it's showing Pokemon, so like other TCG graphics on that dice. You know, deck boxes. I don't look, if you're showing off a deck box on your camera, just put it away. But yeah, the main thing is playmats and sleeves. It's just playmats and sleeves, and then if you have like, you know, other supplies, and they're a bit more lax on that. They're basically a bit more lax on that. But just don't do dodgy thing. Right? Don't do dodgy thing. Especially comic kit sleeves. Everyone likes comic kit sleeves, all right? But with this tournament, unfortunately, not allowed. All right, not allowed. Keep it for locals. So yeah, that's it. So general regulations and formats. This is just everyone. You can join. Only English cards can be used. Cards from the new expansions are legal to use from the expansion's official release. Things like that. Deck. You must use the same deck, right, throughout the entire tournament. Don't switch cards. It is mandatory to register the deck, submit the deck list, or submit the deck code via deck log. So it looks like they're making sure you use deck log, which is good, right? They've updated deck log for English. The card arts as well have been updated. I've noticed that they've been progressively getting better, especially for premium, right? Because I know some of the older cards have kind of low Q card art. But they're kind of moving back. They're kind of getting through all the backlog to get some of the older card updated. I think right now it's just kind of like the super old ones that still are kind of low Q. But you know, they're definitely doing their diligence, right? At least with this Vanguard, like standard and V-Prem, I think it should be fine. I think it should be fine. But yeah, basically, it looks like you need to submit the deck list on deck log, and then discrepancies between the deck list and actual deck used in tournament may result in a penalty. So make sure your deck list that you submit is correct. I think last time they were a bit lax on rarities. I'm not 100% sure on that. But since like it's so easy to do, like submit a deck list on deck log, you don't have to write the code or anything like that. You can just put in the correct rarity as well, just to be safe, you know, just to be safe. Please note that the tournament is an open deck list format. Your deck list code will be public during the tournament. So, all right, if you have Spice Tech, round 1, people can see it. All right, people can see it. Okay, sleeving. Fighters are required to use opaque card sleeves so that the back of cards cannot be easily distinguished. So just, you know, a color that they can't see through. Sleeves used for all cards must be the same design unless otherwise stated. Outer sleeves may be used. However, the maximum number of 2 overlays allowed is 2. So this one is just, yeah, make sure the back of your cards, they can't be see-through. Ideally, since it's a remote fight as well, you want to use like a character sleeve, and then you can double sleeve that. Because the camera, when you put the sleeve cards on your playmat, if your playmat is a black color and then you have black sleeves, it is very hard to see. And I'm pretty sure that a judge can be called for that as well. They'll ask you to change either the color of change your sleeves or just change your playmat, right? If you're using character sleeves, it's called, the design is not just like one solid color, so it's kind of easy to distinguish. So in terms of, you know, making the tournament a better experience for everyone, it is kind of probably better to use these kind of different designs. You might have this crazy idea where if I use the same color on my sleeve, it's gonna be harder for my opponent to distinguish what cards are and give me an advantage. But just bear in mind that your opponent will have to ask questions more. They're gonna, how many cards in your hand? I can't see it because they're all the same color. How much damage do you have? They're gonna be asking a lot more questions. So it's gonna slow down the tournament or your round a lot and can go to time quite a bit, and that will be literally your problem. So for the interests of both parties, it's probably better to make it so each card can be distinguished from each other, Yeah, there's some exceptions, gift markers, but then in standard, you must use different card sleeves for your ride deck, and then your imaginary gift markers, you can sleeve them, there must be different card sleeves, and then premium, your genius and all that has to be different. So, important notes, his time rules. Time is very, very important, right? Players have 10 minutes to finish 3 extra turns. After 10 minutes or end of the 3rd turn, whichever comes first, the winner is decided in the following manner. In Cardfight Vanguard, the player with less damage wins the game. The damage is the same. The game ends in a double loss. This is huge, right? This is actually huge because same damage in Vanguard happens a lot of times. It happens a lot of times. You only have 6 damage to play with unless you're playing Greedon. Then you have more. If you're at 6 damage with Greedon, you're probably losing. So, in the interests of Vanguard, you really want to finish your game before time, and you definitely want to finish it before the 10 minutes have passed, or you guys, a double loss is worse than a loss. I'm just saying this. A double loss is worse than a loss. In White Schwartz, the player with lower level wins the game. If the level is the same, the player with less clock, and then it's a double loss. So White Schwartz is a bit different. Lots more things to consider, but Vanguard, you're getting double loss if you both have the same damage. That's it. In Top Cut, after 3 extra turns, the game will be decided by sudden death. So, and then for best of 3 formats, I don't think there is a best of 3 format, unfortunately. Scores 1-1 after extra turns for you. Both players will receive a loss, but there is no best of 3. Sudden death, if I recall correctly, whoever is dealt the first damage or takes 1 damage loses. Unless they heal, don't quote me on that. Also, if you trigger a heal and have less damage than your opponent, then you win. So it's also not ideal. Just finish your games as quick as possible. I think it should be easier for you to see time. Let's be real, right? It should be easier for you to see time just because you have the clock there, right? And then for Vanguard, basically every single game is 30 minutes, except in Top Cut, it will be 35 minutes. So if you're playing a stall deck, then don't. Don't. Make sure you're playing your deck as fast as possible. Know your combos, know what they do, be prepared to explain things, of course, but explain it in a very clear manner. So yeah, it's just try and be as fast as possible so you never go to time. That's my tip. And that is it. Just keep in mind everything's the best of 1 as well. Unlucky, but that's how it is. And then for the FAQs, there's not really much FAQs. But let's take a look here. So Japanese cards not allowed. If you do not astride, yeah, you can invade. You can invade other countries. You can invade other regions. Yes. So that's it. You can't switch to. So can't switch. Can I sleeve cards? Different units for you. That's basically very easy. The other news we want to be careful of is possible shipping delays for some products. So here they've announced that Clan Collection might be delayed because of the supply problems around the world. Basically, mostly in America, I think. America is having huge supply issues, but in Australia we can't get supplies from the US, which kind of sucks. But there is quite a it's weird, right? Because this is V Collection is pretty big for premium, and premium happens on December 4th and 5th. This set gets released November 19, so you have just under 2 weeks to get the product, or you get 2 weeks to get the product. I would say try and secure product ASAP. Check your store, right? How it's going, double check, triple check. You do have 2 weeks for premium, right? You have 2 weeks for premium. You have 3 weeks for V, right? An extra week for V. So hopefully they do arrive in time. But this is one of those things where if you're ordering from like splits from stores, you might want to make sure that they're getting those in time. And not getting delayed, and then they have to ship it out and getting delayed kind of thing. So bear in mind, there are delays happening, right? The biggest one for Vanguard is going to be Premium and V, right? Premium and V, because it is this. This is the product that is kind of defining, right? Kind of defining for both those formats. For Standard, it is going to be a set 3, but set 3 gets released, I think, December 10th-ish? Right, so it's like the week after the premium tournament. So you have nearly like a month to get the product. If we want to include sneak peek, you have over a month. So for standard, it's a bit better, right? Because you have more time, but also there is shipping issues. Plus, there is Christmas shipping that you have to be careful of. So maybe you just want to check locally if you can get the product if you're planning to compete. But yeah, that's something that can happen. But again, right now, from now, you have around 3 weeks to sort out other problems too, right? Space for you to play, internet, webcam. Webcam is probably your biggest thing, right? Webcam is probably your biggest thing. If you want to get a good webcam, the Logitech ones are pretty good, right? But they could be sold out. They could be sold out. So if you're ordering online or you find a good deal online, you better order it now, right? You better order it now because things take a long time to get to you. If you want a microphone as well, you can get... Microphones are actually quite easy to get, to be fair. If you're just playing for this tournament, you can get like a... There should be a lot under $100, right? And if you want to go cheaper, you can. You can even get a headset. That'd be good. Normally, I would say, like, don't rely on your webcam's microphone because it's usually terrible. And again, if you have terrible audio quality, your opponent is going to be asking you more questions because they can't hear what you say. So yeah. In terms of admin stuff, that is basically it, right? Go read the rules. They haven't announced the prize yet for BRO, but that's... I guess prizes will determine if you're competing or not, right? If they're really good prizes, you'll be competing, and you want to read these rules. But just bear in mind as well, these regulations can change if they need to update it for anything. But ideally, we've kind of gone through some of the bigger points. We have both read through it together, and we've both accumulated knowledge so that we can both compete and not lose to admin. And if you do lose to admin, then plead to judges, right? Plead to judges and hope they're nice to you. Hope they're nice to you. Don't be a dick to judges. That's a pro tip as well. Be nice to them. If you act like a dickhead, they will just go, yeah, screw you, gamer. It's like when you see someone yell at like a customer service rep, it's not gonna help them, right? The guy serving you Mac isn't gonna like it when you talk badly about them to their face or make their life difficult. So just be nice, guys. Be nice. Have fun. That's the most important. Have fun. Have a good experience. A lot of people, this will be their first tournament as well, because Remote Fight does represent kind of this unique opportunity for you to kind of join the tournament but not have like so much pressure having to make it to the event and things like that. So be nice. There's gonna be a bunch of newbies out there that are first playing off, and you know, let them have a good experience because they're the ones that are also gonna grow and, you know, get other people into the game too, right? So that's it from me. Hopefully you had a great reading session. Hopefully you're a good listener. You're a good listener, and I'll see you guys tomorrow, right, for another video. All right, bye.